Shop beauty and skincare products in the most fun and informative way possible. Imagine if TikTok and Amazon had a baby. It would be Flip. Watch video reviews and shop all your favorite beauty and skincare brands from one app. Place your order and get it the next day. Flip carries brands like Jason Wu, Kaja, RMS Beauty, Hourglass, and Dermaflash, Ren Clean Skincare, and Kate Somerville, and many more, all for the best price possible.
Flip has the best rewards program out there. Watch videos, review, and earn shopping credits towards your purchase in addition to best price guarantee.
Finally, Flip Beauty Shopping is a place to hear honest reviews, the good and the bad. Scroll through real customer video reviews about products they've shopped on the Flip app. Enjoy free shipping and returns. Flip provides same-day shipping. To make a return, stick the provided label on the box and schedule a pickup on the Flip app, or just drop it off at any UPS store.
What I love so much about this app is as soon as I downloaded it, I was hooked. I love being able to see what a product's going to look like on my skin. The truth is, we're ordering everything online now, so you don't have that option. Flip solves that issue. You can watch people with your same skin tone and hair color try on a certain lipstick or a certain blush or a certain anything and figure out if it looks good on them, then maybe it'll look good on you. This solves a huge issue that we've been having with online shopping.
And I love that it's not just makeup, it's skincare as well. K-Beauty, my favorite, they have a whole K-Beauty section. Korean skincare is my favorite, and they have a whole plethora of Korean skincare products that I can see not just a photo of what the bottle looks like, but someone actually putting on a serum. So I can see if they enjoy it, if they like the way that it makes their skin feel. It's just a much better way to experience a product from the safety of your home.
Right. It's interactive shopping. You can watch live shopping shows with beauty and skincare experts, celebrity makeup artists, and industry trendsetters who will give you the inside scoop on every brand and product. And the best part is you can shop the featured products live with one click during the after show.
Use code DIRECT for 30% off towards your first purchase plus free shipping. Download Flip Beauty shopping app in the App Store and Google Play today. Search for Flip Beauty shopping app. Honeybees are responsible for more than 35% of the foods we eat and the honey we enjoy, and they continue to face challenges every year. September is National Honey Month, and to celebrate, the National Honey Board has launched Honey Saves Hives, partnering with several U.S. food and beverage companies who will each make a donation to Project Apis M, the largest honeybee nonprofit in the country.
By purchasing select Made with Honey products from participating brands during the month of September, you can help save the honeybees. Participating companies include Companion Baking, Justin's, Lost Cause Meadery, Muley Water, and Purely Elizabeth. Visit honeysaveshives.com for more info. Join us in helping save the honeybees this month by participating in the Honey Saves Hives program. Visit honeysaveshives.com for more info.
Hey guys, it's Candace.
And Kayla, and we are directionally challenged.
Oh yeah, we thought we'd have it all figured out by the time we're in our 30s.
But surprise, we don't.
We don't!
No, we don't. And that's okay.
No. But that is okay. Kayla, are you an adrenaline junkie?
I mean, I would say yes, typically, but I don't know. I the older I get, the more I think I'm less of an adrenaline junkie. I think when I'm in my teens and 20s, I felt like I could do anything. I have yet to skydive. Does that answer? Have you done the big skydive?
No. And I had a moment where I was like, oh, one day. And now I'm like, nope, no.
Safe to say you're not. Are you not an adrenaline junkie?
No, like I will ride a roller coaster, like a controlled adrenaline junkie. You know, like I can handle a roller coaster. I'll go to a haunted house.
Yeah, I would say you're not an adrenaline junkie if you're saying a haunted house.
Like it's the thing. Like I'm too terrified to take care of my rooster. Like he scares me. Mm-hmm. So that's adrenaline to me is like having to herd a rooster into a chicken coop. That's like really fan of the flames of my day. So
you're so cute
when you say adrenaline. But it just blows my mind. I mean, not too long ago, we talked about, space travel and just, and we have tons of friends who will literally just on a random day be like, I went skydiving and now I'm going to go do, just the wildest things. And I would love to say that it was motherhood that changed that. But I just don't think I've ever been much of an adrenaline kind of gal.
Yeah, I agree with you, just having known you for so many years. But I do think motherhood also changes it, because it's not just about you anymore. And it's about you have another being to raise. But I mean, how good are you at go-karts? Would you say that you're pretty good at go-karts? Have we ever raced each other?
Part of me feels like we have.
I know.
I literally was going to start our conversation by asking if you've ever been on a racetrack, but I didn't, because I was like, I feel like, have we done this together? Have you been on a racetrack?
I mean, a go-kart racetrack, not an actual racetrack. Have you been on an actual racetrack?
I did it once.
Tell me everything.
I know. It was for an event, and it was like an Audi event. And so
you got
I drove
to race
really
the
fast.
Audi.
Well,
and
I
you
didn't
drove
race
the
against
car?
other people, but I got to drive it. And I drove it. I mean, the most I got was like 107 miles per hour, which to me, who drives like a grandma, was wild. But that's about it. But I had like a driver who also was like in control of the car. So I don't know if like I was actually driving it. Like if he was just like pretending that I was driving it and making me think that I was going fast. But no, for some reason I thought you and I had also raced a car together or been in a go-kart at some point.
Well, clearly we're not huge adrenaline junkies, because we would have remembered who won, and we probably would have been racing for it. But
probably would have been you. Probably would have been you who would have been the winner. Well, it makes sense. We've had a lot of adventures together. I mean, we've been to both Universal Studios and Disney World together.
That's right.
And if that's not adrenaline in the heat of summer, of July, just like getting that butterbeer and then going on the Harry Potter ride. Like if that's not a wild adrenaline junkie, then I don't know who is.
Who is an adrenaline junkie, Candace?
Our guest today.
A good guess. Yes, our guest today. Today, you guys, we have a special treat for you. We are sitting down with Toni Breidinger.
In February, she made history as NASCAR's first Arab American female driver when she raced in the ARCA Menards series at the Daytona International Speedway, finishing in 18th place out of 33, ahead of two other women who competed. There are about 10 females and more than 150 men racing in NASCAR's various series this year. And she's only 21, guys. She's on fire right now, and we cannot be more excited to sit down with Toni and talk about her racing career.
So without further ado, here is our interview with Toni Breidinger. And we are here with Toni Breidinger. Toni, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to talk with you guys.
We have been so excited as well. There's so much we want to cover with you. You have accomplished so much already at such a young age. But what I want to do is start at the very beginning, because what I love so much about your story is how it began on a simple day, just racing some go-karts with your twin sister, and you fell in love. Your father, I guess, bought you a go-kart, only one, and you guys had to share, which didn't go over very well. And then he bought you two, and you finally, I guess they gave you a nickname as well, right? Your first day? What was it?
Yeah. So they called me Hot Shoe. So I thought I was like really good and all this stuff. And then obviously once you like first get started in something new, you're like actually, normally you're not like the best at it. You have to work up to it. So they called me Hot Shoe. And at my school that I took like a little go-karting school class. I was like all hyped up. And then when I did my first actual race, I was like, oh shoot, I'm not as good as I thought. But I feel like that kind of motivated me more. And I was like, wait, like I want to work towards this. And I feel like how difficult it was is what motivated me. And I was like, wait, this is hard. I like this. It's a challenge. And I feel like that's kind of what really got me into it, was the challenge of it.
So I'm going to ask a lot of really dumb questions, because me and cars just like, I do not speak the car language. My husband gets mad at me all the time because he's just like, how do you not know when to change your oil? And I was like, I don't know. Like, is that really necessary? And yes, I know it is. But so first of all, where were you living when all of this happened? Where did you grow up?
Yeah. So I was born in San Francisco, and I was born and raised in the Bay Area. So basically when I started racing go-karts, it was at Sonoma Raceway. That was the closest racetrack to us. So that's where it all started. And it's kind of where it all took place before we started traveling everywhere for races.
So are go-karts like bumper cars where there's just like stop and go with like when I think of go-karts, I think of the fun spot back in Orlando, Florida, where I would maybe race a go-kart or two back in my day. But the whole point of it was like you try to like, you know, as a kid, you're trying to like crash into other people and go fast. But it's really easy to drive one of those where I feel like the go-karts maybe you were driving. Like in my head, I'm like, are these like stick shift go-karts? Are these like high-end makes a like professional racing go-kart when you're a kid?
Yeah, I would say like a lot of the times when people go go-karting, it's to the indoor go-kart tracks, and it's kind of like electric powered go-karts. So it's a totally different vibe. I feel like a lot of times, like the races that I did, people took it so seriously. And it's kind of crazy looking back at it just to see how seriously some people took it. I mean, to me, every single weekend I was acting like I was racing in the Daytona 500 every weekend, which I was, and it was just like a little go-kart race. But everybody was super in it, very competitive. And we raced on these outdoor road courses. And it's crazy because I feel like a lot of the racecraft I learned in go-karts carries over into race cars. So I feel like it's still like a really great way to train. I still go to go-kart tracks to this day just because I feel like it's a great way to keep your mind sharp. But yeah, it's definitely a totally different vibe to what I feel like people kind of picture go-karts being.
No, I feel like you have to be a really good competitor to be as successful as you are. You have a twin sister. I have to ask, was she your first competition in everything?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Especially with us being twins, I feel like we did everything together. So it was always like, okay, who's going to do this better? Who's going to be better at this? And she was always kind of the more competitive one, I feel like, growing up. And she's always a little bit kind of stronger than I was. And I feel like go-karts is kind of the equalizer. I was like, okay, now I can get back at her.
And did you win that first race against her?
Honestly, I'm trying to think back at it. I don't really entirely remember my first go-kart race. I remember I was very nervous and just the moment of before the race started, just having insane butterflies and be like, what did I get myself into? But I remember my second go-kart race, I somehow got in second place and I was so excited I had a lap left and then I crashed. But I feel like a lot of the times, me and my sister qualified next to each other. There was times when we started on the front row together and those were always really cool moments. But yeah, so many times where like we get first and second or finish right next to each other. So I feel like we're always very equal.
A lot of times when I hear about racing, usually it's a family business, but that's not what it was for you. Your mom was a preschool teacher, I don't know if she still is a preschool teacher from Beirut, correct?
Correct, yes.
And your father at the time, he was working in construction?
Yes, that is correct.
So This was a completely kind of left field activity. At what point do you think your parents realized like, oh, this went from hobby to like a full on serious, we're going to be driving a lot of places to take our girls to competitions? When did that shift happen for you?
Honestly, ever since I did my first race, I always told my parents, I'm going to be a race car driver. This is what I'm going to do. And I wasn't sure exactly what form of racing I wanted to do. There's so many different forms of motorsports. But I always told them I'm going to be a race car driver. And I think they thought it was just going to be a phase. I mean, I said so many random things when I was a kid, like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And it was always kind of a phase. But this was the one thing I stuck with. And I think definitely my mom early on knew like, this is what she wants to do. I think my dad didn't realize it until more like high school, I would say. And really when I decided to not go to college and pursue this full time, they're like, okay, she's really going to take this seriously. So I think that was kind of the moment where it was, okay, this is not just for fun anymore. She's really going to make this leap and try to make it her career. But yeah, I mean, I think, even when we were traveling when we were younger, we were very competitive. I think my dad still was like, okay, just for fun, even though we're kind of going all over the place for it. It was just kind of for fun and a fun way for him to spend time with us.
What would these competitions look like? Like, I know where I'm going with this is probably the most obnoxious and one of the more common questions you get. But as a woman, where are there girl competitions and boy competitions? Is it gender specific, or when you're younger, is everyone just showing up to race? I mean, I would assume it's predominantly boys that would be racing, correct?
Yeah, racing is definitely male dominated, but they don't separate you by gender or anything. Everybody just races together. It is kind of by age group, especially when you're starting off in go-karts. Like when I was first doing it, it's let's say 5 to 9 years old. And then when you're 10 to 15, you go in a different class. So there was kind of age groups in a way, but nobody was ever separated by gender. But definitely male dominated. A lot of the times I'll be the only female racing. Like this last race I just did, I was the only female there, but I honestly don't ever really notice it until someone points out. I'm like, okay, well, now I notice since you pointed it out. But for the most part, I don't really notice being the only female out there.
You had a great quote when I was researching you. You said, once the helmet's on, I'm just a competitor. And that's such a wonderful way to view it, because it really is true. Once the helmet's on, gender doesn't matter. You're just a competitor and you are out there. And I feel that competitive nature when we're talking to you. It's really exciting. Talk to us about how that feels, and what does that feel like for your mom and sister to have seen you paving the way for young women, and not just here in the States, but worldwide?
Yeah, I know. Definitely. I always say, gender is so irrelevant. Once you're on the track, the car doesn't know gender, the track doesn't know gender. Once the helmet's on, I see myself as a driver just like everyone else. And I think my mom, ever since I was younger, she's always told me, you're inspiring so many people. What you're doing is different. It's inspiring. But for me, I've been doing this since I was 9. So I'm just doing what I'm doing. I never really saw myself as inspirational or really paving the way. And I feel like this past year is when I kind of realized, I am making a difference just by getting messages on social media and reading them and hearing from people that what I'm doing is inspiring. And that just inspired me so much more to just represent more and put myself out there more. And I just feel like the better that I do, the more I'll help pave the way for others.
Yeah. And I mean, not just paving the way, but making history. I mean, in February, you are NASCAR's first Arab American female driver. And speaking of messages that you receive in probably on various social media accounts, are there any that stick out to you that that you think of, more often than others, that go like, wow, this is bigger than just me, that this means something? Like, my passion and my drive is also encouraging others to follow their own passion and drive, pun intended.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when the younger females reach out or the younger Arab girls reach out, that definitely to me kind of just like hits different. I'm like, wow, like just to hear from them that just me being out there racing is inspiring for them to follow their dreams. Like, obviously I'm doing this for myself, but at the end of the day, I want to be making a difference. I'm also doing it for those little girls, not just for myself. So yeah, just any of those messages before it, just, they say that I'm inspiring them, but just to read those really inspires me.
You're so brave. I have to tell you, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as Candace, where car knowledge is not my expertise, obviously. But the idea, just the sheer idea of driving a car, stock car, whatever you're driving, race car, whatever, as fast as you can is terrifying. Have there ever been moments where you have feared for your life? Or what has been the worst significant moment you've had so far? And any crashes that left you terrified?
Actually, recently, my worst fear happened, which is basically your throttle sticking. So kind of like to explain it, it's like, let's say you're going down the straightaway, your throttle just sticks wide open. And you like lift your foot off, the gas is not coming back up. So you're full throttle.
Gas is stuck. You're full throttle.
Yeah, stuck full throttle. And obviously at that point, brakes isn't going to do anything. If you're full throttle, you're not going to be stopping. So that actually happened to me recently. And in my 12 years of racing, I've never had that happen. But that's always kind of, I feel like that's always in the driver's, like the back of your mind. Like, okay, like let's hope my throttle doesn't stick. Because that's kind of the worst case scenario. Because obviously you're going fast. You can't stop. So that happened to me recently, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. I wasn't like concerned for myself or anything. I was just like, okay, how can I make this hurt the car the least? I wasn't concerned for myself. I was just trying to like shut the engine off and do what I could to kind of get the car out in somewhat of one piece in a way. So yeah, that was like my worst fear. And I was
Wait, so is that what you do? You shut the engine of the car off?
Yeah. So that's what you're
scenario?
supposed to do, but it was hard because I was trying to make the turn at the same time and I couldn't see the switches. So I was like trying to feel for them, but make the turn. And it was a moment, but honestly, like it wasn't that bad. I didn't get scared. I was like, oh, cool. Like that didn't freak me out or anything. Let's go.
So you made the turn and you didn't end up crashing and then the throttle unstuck?
No, I did hit the wall, but it wasn't that bad. It was all kind of on the right side of the car. I didn't go head in like what most people
Okay, good.
do.
We've all seen those crashes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like that was my worst fear. It didn't really freak me out or anything. worst injury wise, I would say when I was in a go-kart, which is kind of funny because you would think like, oh, go-kart, that's like, for like little kids and stuff, how would you get injured? But go-karts are where I got my worst injury. It was just a broken arm though. So it wasn't anything too wild or crazy, but
I'm like knocking on wood while you're saying all of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Start playing some wooden drums over here.
Literally.
What does training to become a stock race car driver look like? My only context is like watching Talladega Nights or watching the Formula One series on Netflix. So like, those are my only references that I have. And obviously Talladega Nights is a joke. But what does that look like? Obviously you have to be very physically fit. You have to have very quick hand-eye coordination. What does a training day for you entail?
Yeah. So I train with a trainer that specifically trains race car drivers pretty much every single day, Monday through Friday, if I'm not traveling on Friday. So basically I go to him every day. We work on cardio, obviously, and your typical strength, just to help with endurance and overall, upper body strength and all that kind of stuff. But also, we do neck training, which I hate doing, but it's important because when you're going around those turns with the G-forces, you have so much pressure, pushing your head and your neck one way. And like, you need to keep your head straight and like be able to like look forward and up. So we do neck training. And also, hand-eye coordination, things for peripheral vision. I'm doing a dirt race this coming weekend. So we'll do things with hand-eye coordination with low contrast stuff and make it hard for me to see, just to train me for those dirt races where visibility is really low because you have all this dirt flying in your face. So there's a lot of different little details that we train for. And it changes up, depending on the track. If we're going to run on Talladega, Daytona, where you're going really fast, we're going to work a little bit more on that hand-eye coordination and being able to react fast. And when you react fast, being able to do it precisely. So there's all those little details, and also heat training, which I hate doing, but it gets really hot in the race cars, which a lot of people don't realize. So we'll train on like saunas and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, not fun.
It's all the things you don't think about. Like you really just think that it's all about like driving really, really fast and well.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the closest thing that people have to compare it to is like them going down the highway, but it's like such a different vibe to that. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of one thing that I kind of wish the sport showed more of is like the athletic side of it and how it is difficult. Because when you're watching us, you're watching, us in the race car, like outside from an outside perspective. So you don't see us like grinding in the race cars, sweating and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like just because you can't really see our emotions and what we're going through in the race car kind of makes it look like it's easier than it is.
Do you have like a team? Like, is it the same again?
Yeah.
I know I'm repetitive, but I really don't know much about it. So do you have like a team of people you talk to in the microphones? Who are these, like coaches? Are they like strategy? Like I always see these people on like the TV, but I never know what all of them do. Have you had these people around you for a while?
Yeah. So I actually recently switched teams mid-season. So my entire team just recently changed. So I'm just learning to work with these guys because they are talking to me while I'm racing. So I feel like, communication is really important with them. But yeah, so I have a crew chief that helps with strategy, with the race and when to do pit stops and all that kind of stuff with setup. And then I also have a spotter in my ear kind of communicating to me, kind of as a coach, but also telling me where other cars are on the track and obviously letting me know, okay, this guy's to your outside, this guy's to your inside, and every kind of little detail like that. So yeah, you definitely have a bunch of people in your ear, which is hard sometimes because obviously you're trying to focus and drive. You have people in your ear asking you questions. You have to respond to them while your heart rate's up, while you're trying to hustle and pass this guy in front of you. So it's definitely a lot.
Is that a huge part of your training as well? Practicing answering questions and thinking, I feel like that's two different parts of your brain, right?
Yeah. So what my trainer helps us with is breathing. Just so when you're driving, you keep your breathing under control. Cause sometimes like you'll be out of breath or you'll be like death gripping the wheel without realizing it or holding your breath because it's just like so intense. So for me, that's something I try to work on. Or if I'm going for a run, I'll just like call one of my friends and be like, no, I'm just working on being able to talk with like my heart rate up and all that kind of stuff. Because when your team asks you questions, you got to be able to answer fast because everything happens in split seconds. So if you're taking too long to answer, well, another moment's going to happen or they need to tell you something else. So you have to be able to just respond and think super fast.
You spoke about Daytona, and I know that you went to Daytona first as a spectator. And the year before you raced, you watched it and said, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Now, that's an amazing story. Most people that go to Daytona or go to something spectacular could say to themselves, I'm going to do that next year, but then don't end up doing that. So what do you contribute that to? Are you a believer in sort of creating your own reality and setting forth a goal and accomplishing it? Do you feel like that was just destiny? What is it that you attribute to achieving a goal like that in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, I think you definitely have to create your own reality and set goals for yourself to help achieve them. And I think it's, I'll set these big goals for myself. And I think it's about setting little goals along the way, because otherwise, if you just look at the big picture, it's super overwhelming. So I feel like for me, that has helped me a lot this year. Every morning, I'll write a list of goals and, what I want to achieve today, what I want to achieve this week. And I feel like those little baby steps help that big end goal just kind of come together. And then you look back and it's like, wow, like it actually happened. So I definitely think, setting those goals and believing it and just waking up every day and working towards that is kind of what helps everything come together.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Why do we need diversity in research? Because it makes better science. Women in Economics, a podcast series brought to you by UBS and the Center for Economic Policy Research.
The profession can only be productive with inclusion and diversity. There are so many topics that women prefer to work on, and if we have less of them, obviously we are going to have less work on these topics.
Learn more about the importance of economics in our everyday lives and hear about new perspectives with women in economics. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Most of you have probably heard us sing the praises of Prose, the world's most personalized hair care. And for those who haven't, we want to tell you about the incredible results. I mean, And for those of you who haven't, we want to tell you about the incredible results we're seeing since using our customized Prose products. Mine is for smoother, softer, stronger hair. My ends, I talk to you guys about this all the time. I have an issue with split ends. And after using Prose, I've noticed such a difference. And my hair truly is so much stronger. And when I use all of the hot iron and the curling iron on it, the ends aren't split anymore. You guys, I'm showing Candace the ends right now. They're pretty good, right?
Are fantastic.
They are. I'm not just saying, they really are.
No, and I let's be honest. I dye my hair. I'm not a natural blonde, guys. This takes a lot of bleach. I know, breaking news. But my hair gets super dry. And Prose has this incredible pre-shampooing moisture mask, like this pre-shampoo conditioner that I'm just obsessed with. And it's completely changed the texture of my hair. So it finally isn't as dry and it's shiny. It's blowing in the wind. Prose knows that there is more to you than just your hair type. So, which is great because Prose has given over 1 million consultations with their in-depth hair quiz, which is how we got started.
They make it fun to take the quiz too. I don't know about you guys. I didn't like taking tests or quizzes in school, but this one was fun to take because it's extremely personalized and tailored to exactly what you're looking for with your hair. And it even goes down to your eating habits and how you exercise, how often you exercise, things that we don't even realize affect our hair. By analyzing over 85 personal factors, Prose determines a unique blend of ingredients to treat my exact concerns and Candace, your exact concern.
Prose also has a review and refine features, so it lets us tweak our formulas for any reason, like change of address. Hello, I just moved. And Prose made it so easy to figure out that moving states means that the water quality in a different state is going to affect my hair. And guess what? Prose has a solution for that because I get to enter it into my account and then I get a whole new formula about what's going to do best for my hair in my new city. As a carbon neutral certified B Corp, Prose is an industry leader in clean and responsible beauty. All of their ingredients are sustainably sourced, ethically gathered, and cruelty-free. They're also the first custom beauty brand to go carbon neutral.
If you're not 100% positive Prose is the best hair care you've ever had, they will take the products back, no questions asked. Prose is the healthy hair regimen with your name all over it. Take your free in-depth hair consultation and get 15% off your first order today. Go to prose.com/challenged. That's prose.com/challenged for your free in-depth hair consultation and 15% off.
We got away with not shaving as frequently when we were holed up at home, but it's time to get friendly with our razor again because summertime means shaving more often. And there's no better razor out there than the Athena Club razor. Shaving can easily be something that you dread, but Athena Club's products make it more fun and easier to shave. Not only is it the prettiest razor we have ever seen, for real, but it's so gentle on your skin. It leaves it moisturized, super smooth, and bump-free.
Athena Club's razor is designed with built-in skin guards to help prevent razor burn while still being gentle on curves. It's no wonder their razor has thousands of 5-star reviews, and I am one of them.
The razor blade is surrounded by a water-activated serum with shea butter and hyaluronic acid, which is a holy grail for skincare.
The best part is the razor kit is only $9 and comes with 2 blade heads, a magnetic hook for shower storage, which is really convenient. I use it all the time, and your choice of handle color. Mine is white.
And the razor has other cute handle color options. Mine is light pink because I like a little pop of pink in my shower. Does that sound weird? I didn't mean it to, but you know what? It's adorable. So enjoy it. I hope it sounds weird and adorable. Plus, you never have to worry about running out of refills or being stuck with dull, overused razors because you can choose how often replacement blades ship to you for free. That means fresh, ready-to-use razors always arrive right when you need them.
They also have the dreamiest shave foam that will leave your skin soft, hydrated, and smooth. I'm embarrassed to admit, but usually I just use soap, body wash to shave my legs. And now that Athena has sent me this lovely shave foam, I am never going back. It leaves my skin moisturized. Show your skin you care with the Athena Club Razor Kit. Sign up today and you'll get 20% off your first order. Just go to athenaclub.com and use promo code CHALLENGED. That's ATHENACLUB.com with promo code CHALLENGED for 20% off. Doesn't it seem like the world's against us getting a good night's sleep this time of year? I know for me, sleeping is so important, but it feels so incredibly difficult. It's so hot outside and it feels like no matter what temperature it is inside, it still affects my sleep. But when you have a Purple mattress, you can sleep cool and comfortable no matter what the world throws at you.
That's because only Purple mattresses have the grid. What is the grid, you ask? It's a unique ventilated design that allows air to flow through to help you sleep cool, even when it feels like 1,000 degrees out.
And the grid is amazingly supportive for your back and legs while cushioning your shoulders, neck, and hips, no matter how you sleep.
Unlike memory foam, which remembers everything, the grid bounces back as you move and shift, so you never get that I'm stuck feeling you do with memory foam. It is so hard to find a good pillow. Not only does Purple make mattresses, but they make the best pillows. I love the grid. It's really comfortable and gives me just enough neck and head support that I need while also keeping me cool because that summer heat is still hanging on and I need something to keep me cool at night.
Try your Purple mattress risk-free with free shipping and returns, and financing is available too. Purple is comfort reinvented. Right now, you'll get 10% off any order of $200 or more. Go to purple.com/challenged and use promo code CHALLENGED. That's purple.com/challenged, promo code CHALLENGED for 10% off any order of $200 or more. Purple.com/challenged, promo code CHALLENGED. Terms apply. And we're back.
Do you have a mentor in racing?
So I do have, my team, I use them all as a mentor. I have a lot of crew guys and coaches on the team. So for me, I usually just kind of lean on them. I feel like the better relationship that I have with them and can communicate with them, the better we're going to do on track. So I would say, honestly, I have a lot of mentors within my team to kind of help me navigate on the track.
Is there something that has been the biggest? I mean, obviously, you've had a huge shift in the last couple of years of just your success on the track. And is there a defining moment that contributed to that shift in success? Or was it just like all the moments leading up to it?
I think it was all the moments leading up to it. I've been working at this for so long, and I feel like it's always been an uphill battle, and it still is. But I feel like this year, everything kind of came together, and I was like, wait, like all the struggles, all like the stress and the tears, all that kind of stuff was just worth it all of a sudden this year. And I was like, okay, cool. You kind of see a little bit of light and just kind of motivates you that much more. But yeah, I've been doing this for a long time now. So I feel like it's a lot of just little moments like leading up to this and just really not giving up. I know it sounds very corny, but really you just have to stick with it.
Is there a struggle that you really hold on or that you remember more vividly than others of just like, wow, that was a really tough moment. And I'm really proud of myself that I kept at it. Whether it was a race or just multiple races, because we obviously see the podium, we see the finish line, we see the fancy cars and all the emblems and the advertisers everywhere. And we often don't see all the in-between moments that is the grind, really.
Yeah, no, there's definitely been moments where I'm like, wait, is this for me? Can I really do this? Can I really achieve this? I feel like everybody kind of has those moments. And I think especially when I made that move out to North Carolina, across the country, away from my family, there's been times where I'm like, oh, did I make a mistake? Can I really do this? I just took this big leap, and it's scary to do that. So I feel like the past couple of years, I've had those little moments. And I feel like especially last year, I kind of struggled just with confidence and really knowing where life was going to take me. I feel like last year was kind of crazy in general for everybody. But yeah, I think just the past couple of years were kind of difficult. And this year was really my year where I think I've had the most confidence. And I feel like everything that's kind of happened was from me getting that confidence and really believing in it. I think it was a lot of little moments leading up to all this, but this year I really feel like I was the most confident that I've been.
That's so great to hear. There's so much that goes into training your mind and working towards this and writing down your goals and making sure your confidence is in check and all of that. But what does time off look like for Toni? Because that's so important. I feel like the time off and letting your brain relax and letting yourself relax is just as important as the work.
Yeah, it's funny because my friend came out and visited me last week and they were like, what do you do for fun? I was like, I go to the go-kart track. And they're like, no way. I'm like, I literally do. A lot of my friends out here, they're in racing too. So I feel like we all just go to the go-kart track because I feel like that's kind of a way to let loose. And obviously it still ties in with the whole racing thing, but it doesn't matter how you do on the go-kart track, it's just kind of for fun. But aside from racing, I would say, aside from the go-kart track and all that stuff, just kind of having a day off and just kind of having a chill day. I feel like everything always happens so fast. When you're at the racetrack, everything's happening really fast and all this kind of stuff. You have a lot of people talking to you, like a lot of things that you have to do. So I feel like for me, just to like chill for a day, like lay by the pool, just kind of have like a little self-care day is kind of my time off.
Yeah, because you are full throttle when you're in training mode, I'm sure. Is there anything that you do outside of racing in that chill time that you feel contributes to becoming a better racer?
I feel this kind of circles back to the goal things, but I read a lot of books and just listened to podcasts this past year that kind of tie in with setting goals and positive mindsets. And I think mindset is just everything. I feel like that really just sets the tone for your day and just everything. I feel like if you don't have a positive mindset, good things aren't going to come. You really just have to believe and just have that positive mindset. So I think for me, just listening to podcasts and this also kind of circles back to, surrounding yourself with really good people, positive people that lift you up, good energy. I feel like that's really important too. But yeah, I think just working on that mindset and just whatever it is, I feel like there's so many different things to help lift you up and get a positive mindset. But I think just working on little things like that kind of helps you, even though it doesn't really affect your racing directly, it just kind of helps your mental state.
It seems like your family really helps you too. And I know moving away from them was a lot and difficult, as it is for anyone the first time they really leave their main support system. And I know you speak quite often about how your culture is such a huge part of who you are. And you grew up eating a bunch of your mom's great Lebanese food. And I can see how hard that would be to leave. And I know your mom is such a huge inspiration to you. And I was going to ask where your motivation comes from, but I think it's safe to say that that's a huge part of it. I mean, you speak so often too about how your mom's childhood fuels you to succeed. Can you talk to our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my mom was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and she basically came to America to kind of follow that American dream and see what kind of opportunities she could have out here. So for me, like, I feel like a lot of my strength comes from her and just, growing up, seeing how hard she's worked and how hard she's worked to help me achieve my dreams. I really, I always have her in mind every day that I want to kind of pay her back and make it so I can really kind of take care of her and help her with her needs and little things like that. Cause she's really been my biggest supporter. So yeah, definitely she's my rock, my biggest supporter. That's kind of where I get all my motivation from. If I'm having a bad day, she's definitely the first person to go and lift me up. So yeah, I feel like just, seeing how hard that she's worked and knowing that she didn't get the opportunities that I have, that just makes me want to work that much harder for sure.
Is there a memorable race that your family's been able to come to recently and just taking that in of like, oh my gosh, we're all here. I'm here. They're here.
Honestly, I don't think my entire family's been at a race, like everybody for a while. But I think the last race of the season, I'm hoping that my mom could come out and my sister's going to come out, my brother and everyone. Because it's been a minute, especially with COVID, I haven't been able to see my mom at any races. I think the last one she was one that I won though. So it's good. A good like memory. She's so dramatic too. I was like, oh yeah, it's like a win. And she's like crying and stuff. But I think in a couple of months, my last race of the season, I think hopefully everybody can go and that would be really good.
Okay. So since you mentioned winning, I think it's, so when you do win, what is going through your mind? What's happening? How does it feel?
Definitely amazing. I feel like I don't obviously I soak it in the moment, but as soon as I'm off victory lane, I'm like, okay, like let's get after it. Let's win the next one. What can I do to win the next one? You're only as good as your last race. And I always keep that in my head. So yes, it's good to celebrate and enjoy the moment, but I'm always looking at the next race in mind. So yeah, definitely exciting, but I feel like, okay, it's in the past, like time to focus on the future. Let's go get another win. So yeah, I think it's important to enjoy it, but also not get too caught up in the wins.
Because I would also then ask, what do you tell yourself as someone who also really makes that effort to have a positive just presence every day? What do you tell yourself when you lose, when you've had a bad race?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I feel like with racing, your odds of winning are a lot less compared to other sports. It's not like you have one other team against you or one other person against you. You have 30 other drivers against you. So I feel like racing is a very humbling sport. You get humbled real quick, especially, you might go on a winning streak and then you kind of hit like a low and you're high again and you get another low. So it's definitely kind of all over the place. Honestly, anything can happen in a race. Anybody can win. So definitely I feel like, having a good group around you, having your team around you is really important. And for me, I set goals every race. Obviously I want to win. That's always a goal, but I set goals aside from winning, smaller goals and things that I want to work on with myself or my driving. And I feel like as long as I hit those goals at the end of the day, I'm happy because I feel like winning is a combination, obviously, driving good, being fast, but it's also a lot of luck at the same time. So I feel like there's other things that are more in control and more in your control that you can do. So for me, I just set other little goals and I feel like that kind of keeps me in a better mood after a race if it doesn't go the way I wanted.
Do you ever have a twin moment with your sister where she understands that you're having a rough day and that you need a little pick me up, or that you have with her? If either of you have, if she's had a bad time in school and you've had a bad day during a race, or is there any of that sort of intuition that comes into play?
Yeah. I mean, I love having my sister at races. Whenever she's there, I just feel this like comfort. And I feel like, she just gets me and it's so comforting to have her there. When I made the switch with my new team, she was at that race and she was at Daytona, which were kind of like the two races where I had the most nerves going into it. So I just remember at Daytona, I was so nervous, had all these butterflies. This is my first super speedway I was racing on. And everything was just kind of a blur. And then she showed up and it was just this instant kind of comfort. I was like, okay, I feel way better now that her presence is just here. So definitely, I feel like she's just kind of like very like soothing and comforting. And she knows when I'm nervous. And I feel like she just knows the right things to say. I don't need her to say a lot, but she knows the right things to kind of like comfort me.
How many race cars are at Daytona?
Kind of depends. I think we got around like 30 cars or something this year. If you're looking at the Cup Series, they have more than that. But yeah, like 30 to 40 cars.
When you're like, before they say go, what do you listen to music? Do you tell yourself things? Do you have a mantra? Do you like scream in the car really quickly? Like, is there anything that you do right before you hit the gas?
Yeah. So I get a lot of butterflies leading up to the race, but once the engine turns on for me, any sort of butterflies just goes away and I get just a super focused mindset. So I feel like leading up to the race, yes, there's like butterflies, I'm anxious, all that kind of stuff. But once the engine's on, it's like a flip switches in your head and it's like, okay, let's go. So I feel like for me, I just get very focused as soon as we're out there on the track.
You are so focused and so driven for a 21-year-old. I'm in awe. What advice do you have we have a lot of younger listeners on this podcast. So what advice do you have for girls that are your age or younger or older that are like, wow, in awe of how you've been able to accomplish so much already? And kind of what's your philosophy and sort of your secret to life? Because obviously you're killing it.
Thank you. I feel like I have so many different pieces of advice. I think the biggest thing is, I feel like people can be their own worst enemy. So just have that confidence in yourself. Because especially if you're chasing a dream that's kind of out of the norm or kind of just not what others around you are doing, I feel like you might not receive that support from other people. So just have that confidence in yourself that you can do it, and be the first you. Don't feel like you have to follow what other people are doing or fit in this certain norm. Just like be the first you and have that confidence in yourself to go and do that.
Yeah, I realized when I was asking the mentor question, like as you were answering, I know obviously there are other people there and I'm sure a bunch of people you've worked with or alongside who have given you support and great sage advice. But I wanted to almost answer for you and be like, I think you're your own mentor. Like you kind of had to be. Yeah. And you've done a really great job at it.
Thank you.
What are your goals? What's next? What is the ultimate racing goal, I would say, is get to the NASCAR Cup Series, which obviously it's going to take a few years to get there. It's kind of like my 5-year plan. I set goals for every year, every month, every race. So I have these smaller goals and then I have these bigger goals in mind. And I also have goals that I want to achieve outside of racing. I just want to be successful in like different aspects of life and kind of pursue some things outside of racing. I'm not fully sure what I want to do yet. But I think it's important just to follow like your passions and just be successful in whatever you're passionate about. Definitely my biggest racing goal is to get to the Cup Series and, be competitive and successful. I don't want to just be racing in it to be racing in it. I want to be racing for wins. Well, I know that you've had no shortage of incredible companies want to work with you and partner with you. So I can imagine you will just rock whatever kind of brand or business or anything you would want to start up in the future. I'm sure this is not a hilarious thing to you, but you've had to laugh it off a trillion times. You mentioned in an interview that one of the top comments you get is that you're just a model trying to be a race car driver. And where I was going with that was, obviously, whatever you end up wanting to do, alongside or beyond racing, as far as a startup or starting your own brand or business, you're just going to rock. There's not a doubt in my mind. But I feel like anyone who would say that to you is obviously just insanely jealous of the sponsors that you have, because that's the whole thing of racing is like working with companies and having them sponsor your team, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, racing is a pay-to-play sport. I mean, unless you get those sponsorships, then you're not going to go racing. So I feel like it's kind of a cycle of, obviously getting those partnerships that, you can work well with, and then you got to go racing. And I feel like people don't always get that concept. And that's probably like, I get that comment so often. I'm like, even if I was a model who races, like, who cares? Like, I don't think myself as a model, but even if I was, like, what's like the situation with that? Like, why can't you do both? And I've done like a little bit of modeling, which has worked out because, we just partnered with Free People's FP Movement and I was in their campaign. So yes, that involves modeling, but they're also on my race car and it ties into racing. But even if it didn't, like, so like, go do me kind of thing. I don't know why people try to hate on people that try to do things outside of racing, especially if it's trying to, helps my career. It's like, this is all kind of working together here. Just because it's not the typical doesn't mean it's bad. It's like,
do you feel like it's gender specific? Because
for sure.
If a male was handsome and in some sort of campaign, I don't think anyone would think twice about it. But there's something about you being a beautiful woman that they're quote typecasting you almost as like a model that wants to be a race car driver, which you are 100% correct in your mentality. And I'm so glad that you at 21 have such a wonderful hold on all of this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've had people say that before I ever even did any modeling, just pictures of me sitting in my race car before I go out to practice. They're like, you're trying to be a model. I'm like, no, I'm just literally just sitting here waiting to go out to practice. Like just random little moments like that. And I think it's definitely gender specific. I've never heard a male get that comment before. It's always
well. And so what if you're trying to look good while taking a picture? Everyone always wants to look good when they know they're taking a picture. End of story.
Exactly.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in just a minute. And we're back. Do you have a name for your car? I told you I was going to ask some dumb questions. I feel like it's been a while. So do you have a name?
I actually don't. So we kind of switch cars depending on the racetrack. So right now for this weekend, I'm going to be racing my dirt car. And then next race is going to be our intermediate car for the 1.5 mile track. So we always kind of switch cars out a little bit. This one's funny. It has like little teeth on the grill. My crew chief put that on there. So maybe I could come up with a name with that, little teeth on the grill or something like that. But I don't really have names or anything, but maybe I should.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Do you have any like lucky things that you do? Are there any like habits or bad luck things? Like, you're not supposed to bring a banana on a boat. Is there anything like that with like a racetrack?
Yeah. So there's a few things that I don't necessarily follow. But don't have peanuts in the garage. People will actually get mad. Don't be eating peanuts next to the race cars. And I also heard that green on a race car is bad luck. So I always try to stay away from green on race cars. Yeah. Kind of random. I don't necessarily follow them, but yeah, if you're ever at a NASCAR race, don't be eating peanuts. Somebody's going to say something. Yeah.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. It's a little, it's weird. It's different.
I know this is a really obnoxious question and I should know the answer from researching, but are there other women in your class of race car drivers?
I think you're one of 4, right?
Yeah. So NASCAR has different levels. So in every level, there's at least one female competing. This is out of like the 4 levels. There's nobody in the top level, which is NASCAR's Cup Series. I do have a female teammate. I haven't raced against her directly yet. We've been doing different races. But the races that I compete in, sometimes I'm the only female. Sometimes there's a couple other girls. It's definitely male dominated, but there's a few of us and there's a lot of younger girls coming up. So it's exciting to see that too.
Are you guys friends?
Yeah. So I try to be friends with all the girls in the sport. I think it's important for us to lift each other up. To be honest, some of them kind of get competitive and I feel like because it's male dominated, some girls have tendencies to still want to have like that spotlight and be like, oh, she's the only girl and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, that's so stupid. That's lame. Like, why be competitive? Like, let's lift each other up, get more girls in the sport. So for me, I try to be friends with everybody.
I know. Are there organizations or camps or clubs of young race car drivers, specifically maybe for like young women? Like I have a 5-year-old. So if there was any thing that you know of where you're like, oh yeah, there's this great organization where they encourage young girls to come and learn how to race.
Yeah, I would say the closest thing to that would be NASCAR's Drive for Diversity program. There isn't anybody super young in it, and it's a mixture of females and males in it. But I do feel like there needs to be something more geared towards younger females for sure, because I feel like we're lacking in that a little bit.
Let's start it.
Yeah.
Let's do it, guys.
Do it. Let's do it. Okay. Another silly question I have is that I've been wondering is, was it really bizarre getting your driver's license? Were you like, ugh, can you just give me my license? I already know what I'm doing.
So the hardest thing for me when I was getting my license was in a race car, I brake with my left foot. And it was weird when I first got in a normal car, I wanted to brake with my left foot. Like I've been doing that since I was 9. And my driving instructor was like, no, you can't do that. You're not going to pass your test if you do that. So I think for me, that was a weird thing to transition over to. Now it's like, fine. I just switch. But yeah, when I first got in a real car, I didn't realize they're going to call me out for that. Like, oh, I didn't know that was even a thing. I was like, why does that matter?
Yeah, I can't imagine being in your parents' positions being like, hold on, brake, you're going too fast. And you being like, you're like, no, I know I'm an actual race car driver, mom and dad.
Under control, guys.
Lay off. I know what I'm doing.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I feel like I kind of knew obviously how to work like a car and stuff, but still bad with directions to this day. That's why I always joke, oh, it's a good thing that I only turn left, because terrible with directions. Terrible.
We aren't. We're really good at directions.
We know exactly where we're going in our life
at all times.
At all.
With directions.
Well, Tony, you have been such a delight to talk to, and truly, you're such an inspiration. Is there a last little thought you want to leave our listeners with to help them in life? Because clearly you've got it all figured out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm working on it. Don't have it all figured out. But I think the biggest thing for me is be the first you. I think that's kind of what I try to remind myself every day. Because it's easy to feel weird or uncomfortable with, being the only one doing something or doing something out of the norm. But be the first you. Don't feel like you have to go copy everyone else. Yeah. My word of wisdom.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us and sharing all your insight. We've really enjoyed meeting you.
Thank you.
Where can our listeners follow you on social media?
Ooh, I feel like I'm on every single social media platform. Triller,
List it.
Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube. I think I'm on it all. It's all my name. So you type in Tony Brighton Girl, probably pop up. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a new season we recommend.
Hey, happy listener. I'm Yardley.
And I'm Dan. And I'm Dave.
And we are the hosts of the true crime podcast, Small Town Dicks.
On our podcast, detectives from small towns all around the world give us their firsthand accounts of the memorable crimes they investigated in their small town. The new season of Small Town Dicks launches on September 17th. Meanwhile, if you're new to the podcast, we have over 118 episodes for you to binge until the new season starts.
So please join us on September 17th for an original take on true crime. Small Town Dicks, available wherever you like to listen.
Acast recommends.
So I don't know about you guys, but acne has always been in my life. It's something that I've struggled with, and especially if you add the pandemic onto it, where I've been working out in a mask, I've really struggled with acne around my mouth and in the area where I wear my mask. And it's something that's really altered my confidence in myself because beautiful skin makes me feel beautiful. And so we're joining Ulta Beauty on a mission to inspire people on their skincare journey, no matter where they are right now, rather than criticizing it and focusing on the worst parts of my skin. One thing I am loving right now that is really helping my skin is Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream. It's something that I hadn't used in a while, and I was reintroduced to it thanks to Ulta Beauty. And now I apply it and I feel like it moisturizes my skin without causing any excess breakouts, which is something that I could really use right now. So thanks to Ulta Beauty, we're going to continue to empower each other and realize the own potential in our skin. Make sure to shop skincare at Ulta Beauty now.
I just love hearing about the dedication that it takes to become a race car driver. I mean, I don't know anything about racing. I don't know how to drive stick shift. I still don't know which side I'm supposed to put the gas in. I always pull up on the wrong side of my car. I'm just not a car person. But talking to Tony and hearing her passion that she has for her sport and the respect that she has for her sport, it's really cool to learn about something that I knew nothing about.
Her advice was so uplifting, and she's such a positive person and so dedicated. The fact that she lists her goals for the day and then lists her goals for the week and all of that, I admire so much how driven she is. And Candace, you're right, pun intended, but how driven she is in her life. And I just think that it must require that much drive to be that successful at such a young age.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of power just at your hands around that racetrack. It's wild. I mean, I can't imagine being my own age and driving that fast around a racetrack, let alone like when you think of a 21-year-old and just the responsibility she has not only to herself, but to the other drivers around her. It's such an interesting sport that I think I will pay attention to in a different way moving forward.
You know what else I love is how much her mom inspires her. You know, and I know you had said to her that she's her own mentor. I also think her mom is one of her mentors because her mom, growing up where she was, moving to the States, trying to find that American dream and providing the best life for her daughter, and her daughter just taking it and running with it. It's just such a lovely, lovely way to, they just seem like they have a really good mother-daughter relationship too. And her relationship with her sister, it's just a lovely family dynamic they have going. It feels like she has a lot of support behind her, which I think makes a big difference.
You know how in the Olympics, they have like all the time, like leading up to the Olympics, you get to learn about the athletes and their like family stories. It's my favorite part. I feel like they need to do this for all sports.
That's a great idea.
Sports. Like right now, Joe and I are watching Hard Knocks. So we're like, it's all about the Dallas Cowboys this year. And I was just like, I wish they would do this before every single football game and I'd watch them all. Like I'd be so dedicated. But now I'm like, all sports need this. Because after talking to Tony, I'm like, I got to get into stock car racing. Like I got to start watching these races because I need to see how Tony's doing. And I need to see like her waving to her sister and her mom in the stands. And like, I'm invested.
I know. I definitely want to tune into her last race where she's hoping her whole family comes because especially after the pandemic, she moved away from them, lived on her own. She's focusing on her training. And I just want to see that family reunion at her last race that hopefully she wins. I mean, this is a movie in the making. We're making it right now.
That's what I'm saying. I would watch. This is what needs to be the new reality show. Is just like getting to know these athletes.
And this is coming from a huge Housewives fan. So that says a lot.
Yes. But it's true. It's like when you know, it's exactly what Tony was saying that, you know, people don't see the training that goes into the sport. And when she's talking about, she's literally doing training in like sweat lodges. So because she gets so overheated and when she's driving inside the car and she's even working on something as simple as being able to talk when she's out of breath and running on high adrenaline because she knows that within that second, the weight of the world is literally on her shoulders and not just dependent on her, but just even keeping the other drivers around her safe while she's trying to accomplish this goal. I mean, it's you just have a whole new perspective on what a sport can be.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to see athletes and how they've, you know, walked through this pandemic. I mean, when their entire career is training and going to matches or races or sporting events and games. And then all of a sudden, all of that is taken away. Like your whole identity is taken away. And to hear Tony say that, you know, she used that time to really start paying attention to what her goals were and being more goal oriented and seeing the reflection of that in her races on the other side of the pandemic, just goes to show that, you know, athletics and is not only what you physically are capable of, but it's such a mental game as well. And how she just kind of kept going back into it's what's in your mind. It's that power of positivity and really focusing in on those little steps. You know, it's all really important, just life lessons that we can take.
It's so true. Her athlete's mindset is key. And you're right. We can all implement it into our lives. Well, we hope you guys are just as inspired by Tony as we are and enjoyed listening to this episode. We have another great episode coming for you next week. Until then, take care and we'll see you soon. Directionally Challenged is a production of Pineapple Productions.
Producer Melissa DeMonts. Post-production sound by Chris Henry.
Music by Joe King.
And advertising partnership with Acast.